everybody, how's it going? This is Matt T with Stacked, and right now I'm joined by Dignitas Director of Esports James Baker, coming off an unfortunate loss against Team Liquid as teams ready for the playoffs. How are you doing tonight, given the circumstances?
Well, obviously I could be doing better if we'd gotten some wins, but it is how it is. You can't win them all. I think there's a lot of positives to take from the game, and we'll definitely be bouncing back tomorrow.
I assume you were able to get a chance to watch the whole thing, obviously. What were your thoughts on the game as far as it went down?
Yeah, I think the first thing I'd like to call out is how well Fake God played in lane. That is a lane that I think even the casters mentioned. Like, you should just get smashed in from level 1. You shouldn't be able to hit the wave. And he was up CS. He was holding control. He was doing a fantastic job. So that's something I was really happy to see. Also saw some amazing team fighting, especially in the early game and the skirmishing. When we survived on bot lane with the TPs coming in, I was like, "We're dead. We're dead. This is game over." And then all of us lived, and that was amazing. Really cool Skarner fresh play as well. I was pretty hyped about a lot of things in the game. Unfortunately, it didn't go away. It happens. Team Liquid's a great team.
Just going right into it, one of the things I wanted to ask you, we were talking about this before, but we had the chance to chat a little bit during the LCS mini media days, of which the import rule was ruling the controversy. And one of the first things that you said was that this year you were not expecting to win, or you weren't, that wasn't your primary focus. Instead, you were looking at this roster as more of like a development roster to set yourself up for a lot more long-term success. But it looks like you guys are winning already. What's it like when you prepare for these lower bars and then you just kind of break through into the stratosphere? How does that change things from a management perspective?
Yeah, it's been fantastic, and full credit to the guys. All 5 players, they've been incredible this year. Also, huge shout out to our coaching staff, led by Jimmy, with fantastic work from Mabry and Jim Morrison as well. Very, very impressed by the whole operation. In terms of just giving some more context to those comments, I believe exactly what I said was, we're not here to win this year. We're not here to go to Worlds 1 year and that's it. We're here to set up a long-term plan where Dignitas is one of the best teams in the LCS. And obviously winning next year is very closely related to winning this year. In many ways, and it's great that so far, at least, so many things have gone right. Like, everything has exceeded expectations, which has been fantastic.
Does that change any sort of development you were planning to do this year, or any goals that you had? Does it force you to reevaluate the short term?
I think that's one of the reasons that the guys have been playing so well, right? Is we came in and we said, every other team has so much pressure on them, and we just said, hey guys, like, we're chilling. Like, we don't care if you win. We care if you get better every single game. And that has allowed the guys to play with a smile on their face. And it's been so obvious from watching the webcams, right? Like, some teams get a win, they're just sat there looking depressed. Like, we get a win, everyone's popping off, everyone's smiling, people fist bumping, hugging each other. Like, it's great. It's honestly just great to be around the team. So, in short, no, I don't think it changes any of our goals.
And it's interesting that you bring up the amount of pressure that you say other teams face. Do you think that that's what maybe sometimes holds teams back? Just that amount of pressure put on them by organizations, or other, I suppose, influences is a good word for it?
Yeah, I think it's very hard to manage as an organization. Being there last year with a roster where we specifically built some of the biggest names in the league, right? Huni, Frog, and Afamu. This was a high impact team, and there was a lot of pressure on them from outside sources. Even as an org, I feel like we weren't putting that much on, and we were trying to mitigate it, if anything. It's a very hard situation to be in, and so I don't fault any organization or management or even coaches for how it ends up that way. But it's definitely difficult to play like that. Having been a former player myself, having played at international competitions, like, especially when you're the first seed, especially when everyone is expecting you to go out there and win, it can be very difficult to play.
For those people who don't know, can you explain your international competition just a little bit?
Yeah, of course. So prior to my current role at Dignitas, I was a professional player in Heroes of the Storm. So at the time that I retired, I was the winningest player. I won the most tournaments and also won the most prize money of any player in the West. So I had a very successful career, attended Worlds, etc. Very proud of my time there.
This is something I've also been interested in asking just from this conversation right here. It's clear that like Dig has this kind of mentality that sets itself apart from other teams. Can you think of any other teams that seem to kind of, I don't know the right word for it, but I guess guide or govern their players in the way they play, like this kind of pressureless atmosphere? Are there any teams that kind of remind you of that within the LCS?
That's a great question. I can't think of any off the top of my head. I think the difficulty is, right, the only way to know that for sure is to be in the room with them or to have a conversation with them where they tell you the same thing and the players say the same thing. And so to my knowledge, there's no one that's doing it exactly like us. But that's not to say there isn't anyone.
And I also want to talk about one of the narratives that you guys also talked about during the media day is that you're the only team in North America that's fielding 5 North American players. And you guys really wanted to kind of stake that. And I think as the import news started to come out, like we saw your tweet after Reggie's imports tweet, you guys threw out a no imports tweet that got deleted after, God, like maybe 30, 45 minutes.
Yeah, it was a while.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about like that narrative with you. Like as this kind of saga played out, is that something you guys wanted to really lean into? Like, yes, we want to be like the heroes of NA or something like that. We really want to feed into that kind of like hometown hero mentality.
Yeah, so to be clear, it's not like this was our strategy all along.
Of course.
We didn't go out there to sign 5 North American players and didn't consider anyone from Europe. I've seen some people saying that detracts from our narrative, right? Oh yeah, like they didn't even mean to sign 5 players. Like they shouldn't be saying this stuff. But if anything, I think it's the opposite, right? Like we said we want the best 5 people for the job, and we found 5 North American and specifically United States players to do that. That is even better. That is amazing. That is fantastic. Like we should celebrate that absolutely. And so yeah, I mean, I'm just really excited for the future of the LCS, right? That we can find these homegrown talents, younger players, pair them with storied veterans, and make a team that is at the top of the LCS, tied for second right now.
Of course. And one last question: as far as you've seen Dig play, like obviously the loss tonight isn't ideal, but what teams have really impressed you with the way they've gone about their business this split?
Yeah, I think obviously Cloud9 is very impressive when they get something rolling. They always look great. But the team that stands out for me is definitely Team Liquid, who we did lose to today. I think when they are on, they are the best team in the LCS without a doubt for me. They are so clean, they're so measured and controlled, and it's very impressive to watch them. But they do look randomly pretty weak. So I'm not sure exactly what's going on there, but they are my favorite team to watch right now, outside of Dignitas, which is, of course, my real favorite.
Yeah, I'm not gonna show any cross the aisle loyalties to anybody, are we? Once again, this is Dignitas Director of Esports James Baker, and I'm Matt Tiva with Stacked. You can find us online at stacked.gg, and you can follow us on our socials at StackedLOL. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that sub button. It really helps us out a lot. James, thanks so much for your time, and good luck for the rest of this weekend and the playoffs.
Thank you very much for the invite. It's great to be here.